Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of Sports Talk with Kris P. Today, I'm going to be going into who I think are the 5 biggest steals of the 2019 NBA Draft. I'm not listing these guys in any particular order. These are just the 5 biggest steals, in my opinion, from this year's draft. I'm going to get started with the guy who won Summer League MVP, the forward out of Gonzaga, taken with the 21st pick in the draft, Brandon Clarke. Selected by the Memphis Grizzlies, Clarke put up about 17 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, 2 assists, over a steal, and over 3 blocks a game in his last year at Gonzaga. All that on 70% shooting. This is someone who's going to come out, be efficient every night for your team on the offensive and defensive end. His 34.5 player efficiency rating led the entire Summer League. And this is kind of shown by the fact that in only 21 minutes a game, he put up 14.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, and a block and a half. I'm not surprised at all that he won Summer League MVP. He had a great game every game, and he just showed that maybe he should have been taken a little bit higher because he can come out and contribute every single night at an NBA level. During the Summer League, he showcased a few things we were kind of expecting to see from him, but that are nice to actually see. His elite athleticism in the post really comes in handy when he's backing guys down, even though that's a skill that's not as frequently used in today's NBA as it was in the past. But being able to bully guys in the paint is always going to be good. He's also a threat in transition offense. He has a good speed for his size and position, and when the transition offense gets going, he's going to be down the court waiting for a dunk. In terms of an NBA comparison, which is something I'm going to try to give for each of these 5 guys, I really couldn't come up with one better than Paul Millsap. I think that, Paul Millsap is a guy who just goes out at the power forward position, contributes to his team on the offensive and defensive end, and he's someone whose production the Nuggets value a lot every game. He's a veteran presence, and that's something that Clarke seems to bring to the table in his rookie year before it even started. He has good composure, and he just goes out and is definitely going to be one of the leaders of that Memphis Grizzlies team this year. My second draft steal, Mfiondu Kabengele. He was taken with the 27th pick in the draft. He's a sophomore out of Florida State, and he's a forward/center. This is someone who came off the bench in college, so it's not surprising to see why he was taken on the later end of the first round. But with 13 points a game, 6 rebounds, almost half an assist, under 1 steal, and then a block and a half on 50% shooting, these are good stats. This is a defensive player with offensive capabilities. He played off the bench, and he got all ACC honorable mention honors. That's a pretty big deal. He has the kind of clout thing going for him because his uncle is Dikembe Mutombo, NBA legend, but he's good on his own. He doesn't need Dikembe's name to propel his career forward. He's got good size at around 6'10", and he has great length with a 7'3" wingspan. He scored mostly as a finisher, but he showed some potential as a floor spacer and definitely as a good post player. In terms of an NBA comparison, I have to go with Serge Ibaka. If Mfiondu can expand his 3-point range, become a more consistent of a 3-point shooter, and continue doing what he does offensively and defensively inside the 3-point line, Serge Ibaka is a guy who he should be modeling his game after, especially after Ibaka just contributed to the championship-winning Toronto Raptors. I think Mfiondu has a good NBA career ahead of him, a long NBA career. He's going to be a guy who can contribute year in, year out, game in, game out. I see him being a really consistent player who you just want on your team. Some great defensive highlights, maybe some great offensive highlights we'll see too. He's a player I'm excited to see, and I kind of started following him before the draft, hoping that he would get selected highly and that teams would notice his strong frame and good athleticism. He's kind of a late blooming player, but we'll see if he can keep developing as he gets into the NBA. I'm excited to see how he plays. My third steal. This is someone who I think a lot of people probably had on their mind when they clicked on this video. Bol Bol, the center/forward out of Oregon, whatever position you want to view him as. He's huge. He was taken with the 44th pick and he's a freshman, but he didn't play many games because of a foot injury. When you're 7'2" and 236 pounds, like Bol Bol is, any sort of injury is kind of concerning because big guys like that tend to not heal as well as maybe other positions, other size players. But in the 9 games that he played, he averaged 21 points a game, almost 10 rebounds a game, just about an assist, just under a steal, and almost 3 blocks a game, all on 56% shooting. This includes shooting 52% from three-point range on almost 3 attempts. This is a very modern big man we're looking at here. He has injury concerns, but he has a great modern 5 skill set, and I'm honestly surprised that he fell to 44. The one thing I'm thinking is maybe when looking at his physicals, there were things that NBA teams saw that we as fans cannot, that told them that they might not want to draft him early, and that led to the Heat taking him with the 44th pick and the Nuggets trading for him. But, good three-point shooter, good defender. Despite his surgically repaired left foot, obviously a concern, as I've mentioned, but I think it's worth taking a shot on a guy with this amount of talent. His dad was Manute Bol, great NBA player, and same thing with Mfiondu. Having a relative that's a great NBA player is good. Just like how R.J. Barrett's godfather is Steve Nash. It's a nice story, but those are all guys that are playing their own way and playing their own game and really proving to the league why they deserve to be in it, why they're good players. And Bol Bol, in terms of an NBA comparison, I'm thinking Brook Lopez right off the bat. You could say maybe a poor man's Porzingis. We have to see how Porzingis plays now coming off the injury. He looks good. He looks built. Hopefully he's more durable now because he and Doncic are going to be a fun duo. But, Bol Bol, Brook Lopez, Kristaps, both tall, big men who can shoot the three and contribute on other spots of the floor, really everywhere on the floor. I just think Bol Bol should have been taken higher than the 44th pick. I think maybe even if he was going to get taken in the second round, he should have been taken with one of the first picks in the second round. I definitely think he has more potential and is more talented than some of the guys that were taken before him. Next up, I have Iggy Brazdeikis. Ignas Brazdeikis is his real name. Goes by Iggy, has kind of a nickname. He's a New York Knick. Good for me to hear because that is my team. But, he's a freshman out of Michigan. He's a forward. The Knicks had the 55th pick in the draft, and they traded up to 47 to select him. Put up 15 points a game, over 5 rebounds, almost an assist, almost a steal, and about half a block in college. The latter end of those stats, really not that great. But, 15 points and 5.5 rebounds are just good stats. He did that on 46% shooting, and that's just good efficiency. Almost 40% from three-point range is great efficiency. It's, from the college range, obviously, maybe those stats are a little inflated. Now in the NBA, they have to take a few steps back, but he's just a scoring wing player. The guy is he's just a bucket. He was one of 5 players to leave the summer league, averaging over 15 points and 5 rebounds with 50% shooting or higher. He had 30 points on 11 of 19 shooting in the Knicks Summer League game against Phoenix. He just really showed out there. And over his last 4 games, he had 18, 5.5, and 2.5 assists on 55%. This is a guy who, with the right development, which I trust the Knicks to give him and get him, I think he can just be a versatile scoring threat in the wing position. Harrison Barnes is someone I could compare him to. I'm seeing a lot of Joe Ingles comparisons, but if he gets a bit stronger, really develops a bit, and keeps being that tough player he is, I think Harrison Barnes is a great comparison for him. I see him contributing to NBA teams, hopefully the Knicks, for his whole career, and just being a good player, an efficient scorer who can just go out there and get you buckets. My final steal, my 5th and final steal of the 2019 NBA draft, a second player from Florida State. Mfiondu Kabengele went to Florida State. He's my first. My second is Terrence Mann. guard slash forward, taken with the 48th pick, and he's a senior. Put up over 11 points, 6.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and then almost a steal and less than half a block, all on 50% shooting. Not bad. 40% shooting from three-point land on 2.1 attempts is definitely efficient numbers that teams want to see. He's a big guard at 6'6.5", but he's a great defender. He has a scoring touch, and he has to prove his three-point shot is legit. Maybe, on a higher volume, can he knock them down at the same efficiency? But he's a great finisher, and I think that, especially with his scoring touch, he's someone who's going to go out there and just contribute. He's going to be a good offensive threat, a good defensive threat. The only thing I have to say about him that's negative is that he could really show a little more confidence at times. He looks a little hesitant. That's something I hate to see out of players. I love when players are just confident in themselves. Not to a fault, obviously, but a healthy amount of confidence is just great to see. Terrence Mann is someone who I see being just, guard slash forward, a long player who can go out there, lock up a team's best player. Maybe, the situation where his team's best scorer can have a worse defender on him, and he'll match up with the other team's best scorer, even if the positions don't match, just to unlock more opportunities offensively for his team, because I think he can handle those tough defensive assignments, especially once he puts on some more muscle, develops a bit more, and gets accustomed to the league. For an NBA comparison, for a current player, or not even that current anymore, but Luc Mbah a Moute, I think, is a good comparison here. Just a forward with a wing player, kind of a defensive ability is his strength, but definitely offensive talent is there, and can just be someone who a team can plug in and he'll contribute on offense. John Salmons is another comparison that I thought of that I liked. Not as much as Mbah a Moute, but we're just looking at Mann as a guy who's a long guard slash forward and is going to go out, score the ball, hopefully shoot it at a good clip, and just contribute for his team, be a consistent player. Another comparison I'm thinking of is Jonathan Isaac, but I think that one's a little bit more loosely connected than the other two. Certainly doesn't have the potential that Isaac has or the length. But man, if he can get that shooting ability solidified, if he can show that he really is a knockdown shooter at a good rate, a good NBA rate, I think teams will really regret passing on him. I don't know how he slid to 48. I saw him going early second round, and he went late second round. So not that big of a slide, not as big as Bol Bol's projected draft stock, compared to where he was actually taken, but Mann is a guy who I think should have been taken a bit earlier. He'll go out and he'll just contribute. Let me know what you think in the comments of these 5 steals. Is there someone else who you think is a bigger steal than any of these 5 guys? Do you think one of these guys wasn't really a steal? Let me know. I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to say. These are my 5 biggest steals of the draft, though. Brandon Clark, Mfiondu Kabengele, Bol Bol, Iggy Brazdeikis, and Terrence Mann. Clark, I think, could have gone early out of the lottery, 15, 16 slots, at the latest around 15 and 16, and, he slid to 21. Mfiondu I saw going around the 20th, 18th pick, and he slid all the way almost to the second round. Bol Bol was supposed to be a lottery pick, and he slid to 44. Iggy Brazdeikis, I think he was taken around his draft stock, but Scott Perry said that he saw Iggy as a first-round player, as someone who was going to get taken in the first round. So when he was available there at 47, they had to move up and grab him. He's looked great so far in Summer League, and I hope to see him get some minutes, even though the Knicks have a bit of a crowded situation there at the wing and guard positions. Terrence Mann, like I said, I could have seen him going a little earlier in the second round instead of almost near the end of it, but these are 5 guys who I'm looking forward to seeing contribute as rookies for their teams this year, and I'm just excited to see them play. I'm excited to see if I was right about calling them steals or not. So let me know what you think. Leave a rating, comment your thoughts down below, and thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.